All right, good morning. We're going to be talking this morning about how they're totally not coming for your guns. No, totally not coming for your guns. Right. And good morning, good morning. I see we've got Fish and Golf with First Blood. Call the Laws with us. Hey, y'all. Fit Life with Danielle has joined us, coming straight off, I imagine, putting up her Monday vlog. Go check out the Fit Life with Danielle. Pitt Danny joins us. Danny was there with me last week for the GOP meeting. I've got those videos edited. They're just waiting for me to find time to deal with the upload. It took a little while to get them cut out and rendered, but those should be up on Rumble hopefully later today after I get out and shoot some houses. Uncle Steve's with us. Good morning. And there's Scrimshaw Rose. Good morning. Good morning. So, what we're going to be talking about this morning. The governor of New Mexico has banned guns by executive order. Just stroked a pen. No more guns. No more right to keep and bear arms by executive order. She's calling it a health emergency. This is psychotic. This is dangerous. And this is illegal. Now, before I get into what she has actually done and deal with, and because out there where you guys are watching me say this, you should believe that I'm speaking hyperbolically. You should hear what I'm saying and think, no, they wouldn't do that. Nobody could do that. That's obviously a direct violation of the Constitution. I mean, obviously, that's a gross usurpation of authority by a government entity. I'll remind you, we're talking about a Democrat, and I'll back you up to Governor Northam. just a few years ago, I remember having this conversation with my father, and I said, "Oh yeah, these guys are psychotic. They're trying to pass laws where, abortion will be legal past the point of birth. They can the law will allow that you can have the baby, clean him off, and then kill him, and the law will be okay with that." And Dad said, that's crazy. That'll never happen. That's nobody could possibly be that crazy. And whoa, you're reading too much into it, or you and we actually had a pretty heated argument about this, and he barked at me a little bit, said, "Have you actually read the law?" Yes, Dad, I have. In fact, because it was only like 4 pages. It wasn't hard to read, and we've covered this in detail in the past, but the law was very clear. It said that it even went so far as to say that if the mother was incapacitated as a result of being exhausted or whatever pain management drug she was on, as per the course of the birth, if she was incapacitated after the baby was born, that the doctor would have the authority to make the decision for her. If the doctor believed that the new mother was physically, mentally, emotionally, or financially unfit to be a mother, that the law, and Governor Northam championed this in Virginia, that the law would allow for the doctor to make the choice. And then he did his interview, and it got even more clear. Well, we would take the infant and keep him comfortable while we had the conversation. So yeah, you should all listen to me when we when I say the governor of a state, in this case, New Mexico Governor Michelle Grisham, has unilaterally banned firearms. You should hear me say that, and hear it with a note of absolute skepticism, because it would be insane for a Democrat to do that. Hell, Obama said it.
The notion that I or Hillary or Democrats or whoever you want to choose are hell-bent on taking away folks' guns is just not true. And I don't care how many times the NRA says it. I'm about to leave office.
The notion that Democrats want to take your guns, me or Hillary or Democrats, whoever you want to say, is just not true. Let me remind you when Beta O'Rourke got up, hell yeah, I'm going to take away your AR-15s. Oh, well, let's see what Governor Grisham actually said.
So effective immediately, no person other than a law enforcement officer or licensed security officer shall possess a firearm, either openly or concealed, within cities or counties, averaging 1,000 or more violent crimes per 100,000, and more than 90 firearm-related emergency department visits.
Now, she goes on to clarify that there's only one place, the county, the city of Albuquerque and the county of, I forget the name of the county.
That in sort of a layman, in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County, it's the only...
Bernalillo County. So she goes on to clarify that only applies in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County based on the number of this. Okay. You're familiar with Blackstone's formulation, right? Blackstone's formulation is it's better that 10 innocent men. It's better that it is better than that 10 guilty men go free than one innocent man be punished. Right? Okay. There's wisdom there. It is better that 10 guilty men go free than one innocent man be punished. Let's accept that premise for the sake of argument. What if it's 100? What if it's 1,000? What if in the pursuit of sparing the innocent to the greatest degree possible, we simply allow all harm? Let's just allow everybody who wants to commit crime and cause harm to do so without consequence, for fear that one innocent man should not be made to suffer unjustly. And I know that sounds like a dangerous slippery slope. But what's the inverse? What's the other alternative? Well, this is. Let's punish every innocent person unilaterally. Right? This is the Democrat mainstay. We've talked about this many times before. Let me do a basic summary. The idea, the general kind of optics on this, what the Democrat sells at any rate, is the idea that the Republican Party is the party of rich white racists. And the Democrat Party is the party for the people, the poor people, the downtrodden, the working man. We accept that on its face, then the fact is that it is in the interest of the Republican Party to cultivate a nation of wealthy voters. And it is in the interest of the Democrat Party to cultivate poverty. If rich men vote Republican and poor men vote Democrat, then it is in the interest of the Democrat to expand poverty. And it is in the interest of the Republican to increase wealth. We're going to be talking about wealth and poverty and economics a lot tomorrow for Taco Tuesday, because we're going to talk about Eric Adams in New York City and the problems that they're having as a result of being a sanctuary city tomorrow. So I'll get to that in a little more depth tomorrow. But you've got that, right? Republicans are for the rich, Democrats are for the poor. If that's the truth, you'd have to be stupid to vote for a Democrat, because you would literally be voting for poverty. Now I'm going to put a pin in that one right there. The unilateral disarmament of a people. That is how the Revolutionary War started. The Brits showed up and they said, "Give us your guns." And we said, "Fuck you! Fuck you!" And that, when they fuck around, you should tell them. Maul left a comment here. Says Ellie is fine now. That's whew. Good. And I hope the kids are watching this morning, and kids, to my daughters especially, that those are daddy words. You can use those words when you're daddies. You too, Michael, just so you know. Let's see. Oh, Trish says, I just tagged you on the response our sheriff's office posted in response to Grisham. I've got some stuff like that pulled up that I was just about to get to. But, Trish, if you've got one specifically, I'm assuming you sent it in Messenger? Trish, send that to me in Messenger so I can find it easier, please. I'll pop over and grab it right here. Says she tagged me on Facebook. Okay, I've got so many notifications on Facebook right now, Trish. I don't know if I'll be able to get there. Yeah, send me the link in Messenger. There we go. San Juan County. Oh, okay, so I'm just going to read the... That is a big block of text. Okay. San Juan County, in response to recent gun homicides, our state has witnessed New Mexico Governor Grisham issued an executive order declaring gun violence a public health emergency. Another executive health order was declared in response to our illicit drug crisis. Most importantly, I extend my deepest condolences to these families, to the families of these precious lives. It pains me to see how quickly our focus shifts from love and support for a grieving family to divisive arguments. Please forgive us as we try to find solutions to these senseless tragedies while preserving our freedoms. We mean no disrespect. My thoughts and prayers are with your families. I also pray for the brave, dedicated law enforcement officers who are tirelessly working to find the evil persons responsible. God be with you. After the governor's press conference, I was asked for my views on the orders. Beyond being your San Juan County sheriff, I also serve as chairman of the New Mexico Sheriff's Association and the New Mexico Sheriff's Affiliate. I gave the following response. The New Mexico Sheriff's Association understands the struggle Albuquerque and Bernalillo County face regarding violent crime. Many rural New Mexico counties are impacted by big city crime spilling out into our communities. The NMSA does not support the governor's temporary suspension of legal concealed carry and open carry firearms. This will directly impact law-abiding citizens. Criminals do not possess concealed carry licenses, nor do they open carry firearms. This proposal is a violation of Article 2 of the New Mexico Constitution that states in the first sentence, no law shall abridge the right of the citizen to keep and bear arms for security and defense. The Albuquerque area still faces a shortage of law enforcement officers, and crime is rampant. We support the government's efforts. We support the governor's efforts. Educate your children. And I'm not going to read the rest of that statement. We got the important piece where that's actually a really great statement, because we got that he's not just your sheriff, but he's also the head of the New Mexico Sheriff's Association, and said we will not enforce this edict. That's a good sheriff. That's a solid constitutional sheriff. And a step in the right direction. Trish, I urge you and every other person in New Mexico, what you should be doing, you need to all call your sheriffs and demand that the governor be arrested immediately. Right? You need to demand that the governor be arrested immediately. Call your sheriff, call state police, right? Call the city police in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County. Call the federal police, call the FBI. Call every possible jurisdiction of law enforcement. And let me be very clear on this. What she has done here, there are a few very specific violations. One, by taking such an executive action, such an obvious authoritarian overreach of the power afforded to her by her office, she has broken her oath of office, which includes a guarantee that she will defend and uphold the Constitution of the United States, right? And in particular, obviously, there is also a measure in the New Mexico state constitution, and this is true for all 50 states with the exception of California and Hawaii, there is a provision like the Second Amendment in the state constitution. The exceptions are California and Hawaii. So, like in the state of Georgia, for example, not only is there an analogous clause that references the Second Amendment, but it goes a step further and explicitly forbids the formation by the state, any county, city, township, or municipality therewithin from the creation or maintenance of anything somewhat resembling a firearms registry. It's explicitly forbidden in the state, and it's explicitly forbidden to every smaller municipal organization below the state level. So that's the first thing she's done, is a direct violation of her oath of office. That violation in and of itself vitiates her authority to hold that office. She has essentially, by the statement, under the law, impeached herself. She should be impeached and removed immediately on those grounds alone. Then, of course, there's the direct violation of the Constitution. Now, when it comes to a violation of the Constitution by a government agent, especially one that is an elected official, in the executive branch, as in she is in the chain of command for national law enforcement, right? We've talked about U.S. Code Title 18, Section 242, deprivation of civil liberties under color of law, many times on the show before. Just a quick, get you a refresher. Section 242 of Title 18 makes it a crime for a person acting under color of law, under color of any law, to willfully deprive a person of a right or privilege protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States. For the purpose of Section 242, acts under color of law include acts not only done by federal, state, or local officials within their lawful authority, but also acts done beyond the bounds of that official's lawful authority if the acts are done while the official is purporting to or pretending to act in the performance of his or her official duties. Persons acting under color of law within the meaning of this statute include police officers, prison guards, and other law enforcement officials, as well as judges, care providers in public health facilities, and others who are acting as public officials. It is not necessary that the crime be motivated by animus toward the race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, or national origin of the victim. The offense is punishable by a range of imprisonment up to a life term or the death penalty, depending upon the circumstances of the crime and the resulting injury, if any. And I would go so far as to argue that this is a case where clearly the violation of civil liberties is so severe. You are disarming citizens in a high crime area. If a murder occurred in Albuquerque this weekend, this governor is responsible for that death. She contributed to it directly. She should be arrested, tried, obviously found guilty on the evidence, on the merits, and she should be executed for her crime. That is not my opinion. As I've just read to you, that is the law. And Zandermack rightly points out, don't forget 241, any member of the legislature that doesn't act to remove her is thus part of the conspiracy and liable under 241. Absolutely. So let me go ahead and get back to the other article. New Mexico governor shocks with comment about Constitution after issuing temporary gun ban. Not absolute. We hear this. We hear it. Right? Oh, well, no right is absolute. Fuck you. The Second Amendment is absolutely clear. Shall not be infringed. So, I've made this comparison before, but let's do it again real quick, just for clarification. The founders were very, very careful with the language that they used, right? The First Amendment says, the Congress shall make no law. And then lists the 5 rights, right? The Congress shall make no law abridging the right of the people, free speech, religion, press, assembly, and petition. The Congress shall make no law. Which is to say, at least in theory and by argument, that it could be tolerable for an individual sovereign state within the 50 United States to have laws which would be unconstitutional under the federal government, right? For example, a state could choose to disallow Pornhub from operating. Censorship, right? And that would be perfectly tolerable under the language of the First Amendment. I'm not even arguing that that's actually the case. I'm arguing that there is a legal argument to be made that is a reasonably strong argument based on the language. The Second Amendment, however, names no responsive entity. It simply says, shall not be infringed. That word infringed is also important. What the Second Amendment says is not something along the lines of, look, people should be able to have guns, at least in some kind of way or another. They ought to at least be able to have hunting rifles. No. Shall not be infringed. Infringed. I did this joke with Cameron, waving my fingers around his head. Something nearby. Infringement is the placing of things near or around an object. Which is to say, all law which references any restriction whatsoever on the ability, the access of the individual citizen of the United States of America to any weapon of any kind, right? Because the Second Amendment says arms. It doesn't say firearms. It says arms. The right of the people to keep and bear arms. Right? Any law which even peripherally mentions firearms is illegal. Bob Dobbs, subgenius, says the right is not unlimited. Yes, Bob, it is. The right is 100% unlimited. There are laws currently which seek to limit that right. Those laws are criminal by their existence, and every signatory to their passage has violated 242, 241, and their original oath of office. Every single signatory to any law referencing firearms should be impeached, tried, convicted, and executed. Bob says, current laws prohibit the possession of firearms by felons and the mentally ill or restrictions on the carrying of dangerous and unusual weapons. Yes, Bob, you're correct. Those laws do exist. I stand by everything I've just said. The argument you're making is Dred Scott was right. Congratulations, Bob. You you found a winner there, my man. The Constitution is written in plain English. Just because your understanding of the language has been corrupted by bamfs and hams, it does not change the meaning of the words. Xander Mack says those laws are getting struck down one by one. He's 100% right. Yeah, even possession by felons just had an injunction slapped on it, and that is probably. Cameron and I have conversations about felons and firearms often, and that's one that I'm not going to talk about until he's on the show with me. So we're going to cover that, Alex, but we're probably not going to cover it. We might cover it on Woke Wednesday, but I suspect we're going to put it off till Firearms Friday, obviously. And yeah, so what we're looking at here is a governor who is operating in clear violation of the law. And she was sitting in a room when she made this announcement. She was sitting in a room with a bunch of law enforcement officers. They should all be removed from office immediately. Every law enforcement officer who did not, upon her statement, arrest her is similarly complicit in a conspiracy to deprive citizens of their individual civil liberties. Oh, Bob. Okay, Bob references Crookshank and says the Supreme Court ruled that the right to keep and bear arms is not granted by the Constitution, neither is it in any manner dependent on that instrument for its existence. Correct. The right to keep and bear arms, like all of our rights which are enshrined in the Constitution, remember the Bill of Rights is not a bill of positive rights for citizens. It is a bill of negative rights in the government. Right? We don't have the right to free speech because the government says we're allowed to have the right to free speech. The Constitution says that because we have the right to free speech, because we have the right to assemble, because we have the right to keep and bear arms, because we have the right not to be mutilated and tortured by our government, that we are listing these specific rights, which are inherently inherent to us by the mere fact of our existence as sapient individuals endowed by our Creator with such rights that they are enumerated in the Constitution as negative rights informing the government that you may not, under any circumstances, violate the rights of the people by creating laws which cause harm to those rights. You're making a mistake if you want to quote Supreme Court precedent to me, my man. You need to go back and read Crookshank again. You clearly didn't understand the words that were coming off of that page. That we have rights, those rights are natural to us, endowed by our creators, and the government is negatively informed that it cannot, must not, and will not be tolerated in violating any of those rights. That's not just something that's stated in the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, but is principle, is foundational, is fundamental to the having of rights generally. It's that simple. You have rights, and the government cannot infringe upon those rights. So, in conclusion, I'm going to have to wrap this up. Michelle Grisham obviously needs to be facing impeachment immediately. That impeachment, according to the law, should result in her removal from office and her expedient execution. I'm going to reference the Liberty Gun Safe argument that Cameron and I had last week. Cameron, and I'm sure he and I will argue about this a little more. Cameron made the argument, and it is a reasonable argument. I'll give him that. It's reasonable. And I would like to agree with it, but the argument he made was that Liberty, when they fucked up last week, they immediately came out with a course correction. And Zandermack even pointed out that having gotten their dicks smacked for screwing up last week, they might be the best safe company to go with from now on because they've made the mistake and taken a corrective action in response to the backlash. But here's the fact. These companies keep making the mistake. These politicians keep making the mistake. In her speech, she talks about banning the guns for 30 days to create a cooling off period. A cooling off period. Here's what we need. We need a reminding period. Instantaneous boycotts every single time any large company pulls some woke shit like that. Immediate impeachment and maximum punishment under the law. Immediate and maximum punishment under the law. Anytime a politician decides that they can unilaterally, by executive order, remove your rights or murder your children after they're born while you're incapacitated by drugs, right? We need to remind the enemies of liberty and prosperity that there are consequences for actions. I'm all for giving people a second chance. But what we're looking at right now, make no mistake, is they are pushing limits. They're trying to see where they can go, what they can get away with. They want to see how far will you let them violate the law before the fact is that the law has not been violated but entirely vitiated. Now, we've got a lot of examples to point at. The whole series of indictment conspiracies against Donald Trump at present going completely unresponded to by any responsive Republican representation is itself a testament to the end of law. This is another step in that. What we're watching right now as an obvious conspiracy to defraud the American people in the 2024 election, a naked gun grab by a psychotic, unhinged, corrupt Democrat. Let me be clear. When I say corrupt Democrat, just real quick, New Mexico Governor Grisham caught using taxpayer money to pay for her groceries, tequila, and whiskey. Right, that was in the middle of the pandemic. She was throwing big parties. Just throwing big parties for her staffers as and paying for it with taxpayer money. At the same time that she was a big mask and stay away from people advocate. Another corrupt Democrat trying to steal your rights. I pointed it out before. These psychopaths set the country on fire, managed $2 to $3 billion and a handful of murders. It took them a year to do it. We decided to stop drinking Bud Light, and the damage was in the tens of billions within just a quarter, a 3-month period. Remind them. The people will not tolerate it. Yeah, okay, Bob brings up a fair point there. You drank Bud Light in the first place. The most I could do on the Bud Light thing was tell other people, hey, if you suck at buying beer, you should get better at it. In all fairness, I drink so. I'm not a light beer guy to begin with, let alone Bud Light. But okay. We are 10 minutes long, and I'm going to have to go ahead and put a pin in it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've got some stuff coming up that I'm really excited about. I'm working with, I don't even want to say the name of the organization just yet until we pin down some more stuff and get it finalized. But it looks like what was originally going to be a 40 to 50 minute documentary about homeless veterans is going to be a 10 to 12 episodic series of 10 to 15 minute micro documentaries exploring different aspects of several different veteran related charities. That is a current work in progress, and hopefully by the end of next week or so, I'll be actually able to talk about the organization itself and a little more about what the plan there is. But I'm really excited about that particular project, and in that vein, I would like to add another cinema camera to our kit for that documentary. Right now we've got 2 good ones. I'd like to add 1 or 2 more BGH1s that I can get those refurbished for around $1,300 to $1,500. The link there, the buymeacoffee.com. No, it's, yeah, go to brushfiremind.com or buymeacoffee.com /brushfiremind, and throw us a couple of bucks if you can, and we're gonna try to get that extra camera on them. I just went out of pocket to add some microphones and other equipment that are going to be part of that shoot, and it's going to be a hell of a gig. That one's going to be, and we're looking at funding from some donor organizations as well. And that'll help out a lot, but it's going to be an expensive. I'm going to do it as we're trying to do it as cheap as we can, because these are charity organizations, and we don't want to tap into the budgets that are going to help the vets any more than necessary to make the project happen. But there are a lot of moving parts that have to be covered there. So the Buy Me a Coffee is the best way to support that. We appreciate the hell out of you. There's already a pretty decent little chunk of money sitting there that's going to be part of this project, and I appreciate you guys watching. The best thing the most helpful thing I can ask any of you is to hit the like, subscribe, and share, and that one especially. Leave comments and share. Send it out to everybody you know. We need to broaden this conversation dramatically, especially over the next year, because we are fighting at what Joe Biden referred to as the largest and most comprehensive voter fraud organization in history. So, y'all be safe out there. Thanks for watching. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.